Hey everyone, welcome to Moving Matt. We do all things cameras with a dash of vlogs and a little bit of travel. And today we have some big news coming from Canon Rumors about the up and coming Canon cameras of 2022. Some may call it breaking news. According to Canon Rumors, who have this as a CR2, meaning they got it from a good source, but they wouldn't consider it fact yet, there's going to be 3 new cameras coming from Canon this year at the second half of 2022. So if you've been watching this channel for a while, these cameras may not come as a surprise to you because, well, I predicted them, but there is a few more details here that I'd like to go over. So the first camera I'd like to go over is this new entry-level full-frame camera. It's going to be taking the place of the Canon RP. We're not sure if it's going to be called the Canon RP Mark II, but it is going to be in that price range. An interesting thing about this rumor is they say it will have the same sensor as the Canon EOS R6, which is a pretty incredible sensor to be putting into a very entry-level full-frame camera. So I will be very impressed if Canon actually does this. Now, of course, I expect it to cut down on the processing power, and they'll probably bring it in somewhere like 5 to 10 frames per second max. But the Canon RP was known for having terrible rolling shutter, so hopefully this sensor will help out with that a bit because it is a fast sensor. Of course, that's going to depend on the processor they put in it. If it's too slow, then maybe it won't help much. Now, they didn't go over the video specs, but I was thinking maybe something like 4K 30 full frame. That's possible, but of course it would be doing that in 8-bit. And also, they probably won't have too many different picture profiles to go along with it. We'd probably be lucky to get C-Log in this camera, but fingers crossed we get more than that. Now, they did say that it is possible that one of these cameras is going to be dropping the EVF, so if I had to guess, it would be this camera, but hopefully they will add it as an accessory you can buy, so you will at least have the option, even if it's maybe $100 or $200 more. The next camera is supposed to be a mid-range camera. It will sit somewhere between this new RP camera and the EOS R6. Now, they didn't have too much information on this camera, but they did say it was going to have a higher megapixel count, but still going to be below the EOS R5, so definitely not in the 45 megapixel range. If I had to guess, even though it may not be called the EOS R Mark II, it will be basically an updated version of that. Now, I think this will probably have a megapixel count somewhere around the 30 range, which is what the Canon EOS R had. Now, I think this will be quite a bit slower than the R6, but maybe it will match the same thing as whatever this new entry-level camera has, but it will be at the higher megapixel count. If I had to guess, this will probably for sure have 4K 30 full frame, and maybe they'll even do it in 10-bit. I would doubt that they're going to do anything with 4K 60 though, because I think that would be biting too much into the R6 market, but we will have to wait and see. Now, since I didn't give much information about this camera, I don't want to speculate too much, and I want to go on to this next camera, which I think a lot of people will be excited for, is going to be a new APS-C style RF camera. Now, they said something that I didn't quite like that much. They said that it's going to be a true hybrid camera, for whatever that means. They said it will be somewhere between or something of a mixture of the M50 and the 7D. So personally, I hope it's more on the 7D side, and I know a lot of people are looking for a high-end APS-C camera, especially for maybe sports and wildlife photographers. Now, with them saying it's a true hybrid camera, maybe they just mean it's going to have good video specs along with the photography specs. Now, I'm not very sure about the video specs of the 7D, so maybe the M50 has some advantages with video. Let's cross our fingers and hope that's what they mean. Now, I do expect this to be a high-end APS-C camera, so it will probably be considered their flagship on the APS-C line, because in the past we have heard rumors of a BSI sensor that's been developed, and I'm guessing if they have a BSI sensor newly developed, that it's going to be for a high-end camera. I would think this will probably be a very fast camera. Maybe it will be matching the R6, so maybe 20 frames electronic and 12 frames mechanical. I know a lot of you would be very interested in a camera like that. I also would expect it to maybe have the same specs as the R6 on the video side as well. So maybe full frame 4K 60, not full frame because it's an APS-C sensor, but I wouldn't expect them to have any additional crop in to add the 4K 60. Hopefully they will add maybe a little bit more than that, especially considering all the things that Fujifilm is doing with their cameras. And they're supposed to be having a flagship APS-C camera coming as well. and I hear it's going to have pretty insane specs, so if they can fix the autofocus, I think Canon and Sony will be in trouble with their APS-C line. But those are just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Drop in the comment section below and let me know. Do any of these excite you, and what specs do you think they're going to have? If you've liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And until next time, peace.